And the first panel, please welcome Christian Suwarna, CMO Traveloka and CEO Traveloka Experience, and Aloke Bajpai, CEO and co-founder of Ixigo. And they are dialing in, so we'll see if they get through. Oh, wow, the moment of truth. Hi. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us?
Hi.
Okay. Hi. Are we speaking? This is all new. This is so exciting. Okay, where's your volume? All right, so we talked about, oh yeah, I can see the volume button going up here. Sorry. So we talked about the couple of trends in our, the OTA world. And the first one is what we call the super appization of travel. And the proposition here is that super apps have had their breakout moments during COVID-19. And one advantage they have is frequency of use, which went through the roof this year, right? One disadvantage that travel apps have is low frequency of use, which went through the floor this year. So how are each of you working on upping the stickiness of your app or platform? Content or payments? Aloke, we go with you first.
Thanks. So we actually, we've been working on stickiness for a while now. In fact, if you look at Ixigo's focus over the last few years, been very focused on domestic, and within domestic, the middle and bottom of the pyramid, especially the tier 2, 3, 4 audiences. In fact, in 2019, Ixigo was by far the most downloaded travel app pre-COVID. And we've managed to create a very unique content and utility framework, right? Whereby we attract users to our app for content and utility use cases, and then we make them transact by introducing them to the transactional funnel. So I think in terms of super appization, what we've done in the last months is partnered with several entertainment providers, news providers, newspapers, utility and bill payment providers, health insurance companies, COVID testing providers. And we've built what we call the COVID Health Center in our app, which has managed to keep our DAUs at even half of pre-COVID, even during the lockdown. So yeah, we've been focused on that front. We've also partnered with a few super apps ourselves. So Flipkart, we have an exclusive and deep partnership for travel. We've also partnered with PhonePe and MobiKwik, who are payment super apps for the distribution side. But yeah, I think.
So Alok, the objective was really to keep users on your platform, right? And not so you managed to hold on to 50% of them. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
During the lockdown, 50%, and now they're back to 70%.
Okay. Christian, how are you in Jakarta?
Good. We're on another lockdown.
Poor you. Feel so sorry for you. But we are with you. We feel for you,
Thank you.
But I think Traveloka has been so busy, the past 6 months, like all of us. And so how are you working, to really create stickiness on your platform and app when not many people are traveling? What are you doing? What's your magic?
Yeah, I think this recent situation has really put the tourism sector on the spot, and Traveloka is not immune to that, especially during the lockdown. We did see lower app usage, and it's inevitable since last March, but thankfully, daily users count have been rebounding consistently in the last few months, and we've been building, more local products, so to speak, like Traveloka Eats, Traveloka Experiences that don't only focus on the major destinations, but also neighborhood activities. We also work with financial services and even have it within our own ecosystem. And on the more traditional travel, we rolled out various product marketing initiatives to cater to the shifting leisure needs and behavior of our users. And I think I've shared this with you. Some of the exciting ones is that we're very stoked about is we're the first OTA to sort of innovate on the live streaming concept in Indonesia and across Southeast Asia now. And that really enabled our users to watch and interact with live tours, buy through Traveloka app, social media accounts, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, offering very limited time, 50% or more discounts in our product from all different categories. That's been very successful. We also introduced like flexibility offering in this unprecedented situation. buy now, stay later, buy now, fly later, buy now, play later, whatever you might call it, right?
Everything later.
Yeah, and that's been helpful because it helps our partners to sustain their operations, get some additional revenue as well, and COVID tests
I mean,
as well.
absolutely. I think we all have just been so creative and so fast, right? And I think you heard on the previous panel about how China is kind of leading the way in live streaming, and live streaming is having a breakout moment in Southeast Asia. I think CC from Global Ticks actually called it out yesterday too on the product panel. So live streaming, the convergence of technologies coming in and just gonna fast forward, I think, the e-commerce space. So now, proposition number 2, right? In a world that's gone domestic and local, you are lucky. I mean, even though you're on lockdown, but you still have a huge domestic market. Indonesia is the world's 5th largest domestic market. India also big domestic market, but this has probably forced you to burrow even deeper. So let's talk about deeper localization and what have you done in the area. So Aloke, over to you.
Yeah, so I think last year we realized that we need to go deeper and local, especially on our train and bus strategy, where we saw a lot of new users coming from, the smaller towns. So language was one of the big constraints. As you know, India, has multiple languages. So we actually went and launched our app in 8 Indian languages last year. Significant percentage of our users now use our app in Hindi, and almost 65% of our users now come from tier 2, 3, 4 towns. What we are seeing is that part of the market is actually bouncing back much faster than the tier 1 towns, because I think there's a lot of utility travel, there's a lot of essential travel that's going on there to keep the economy up and running, and we see the impact of that. The other way we localize is to think about local use cases. So if you look at trains in India, one of the big frustrations is that no trains usually run on time, and so we built this really nifty product that predicts how delayed your train is going to be, and so that you don't need to end up at the railway station and sit there for 4 hours. This is one of our most popular features now, and we also built this ability to predict whether your waitlisted ticket is going to confirm, which is also one of the big pulls for our app. So I think localization, both in terms of content and in terms of product, is something that we have doubled down now. In fact, at this point, we are building a few more interesting use cases around that train segment, which I think other OTAs have not really been looking at.
Yeah, because it's only a local player like you that can understand, like really the local nuances of this tier 2, tier 3 cities, unlike a global player. So, Christian, are you seeing the same trend in Indonesia too? Are you digging deeper into the tier 2, tier 3 cities and you're seeing much more recovery, faster recovery from those cities, Christian?
Yes, we do. And I think on localization, we've been operating in many major markets across Southeast Asia and Australia, right? And Southeast Asia is never a one-size-fits-all market. So they've all been behaving differently, and we've been exposed to this phenomenon for a long time. So we've been designing products, doing campaigns, localization in languages, payment methods in Indonesia is different than payment methods in Thailand, in Vietnam. So this is not something entirely new to us. But I think in this situation, what I feel is our greatest strength is our hyper-local inventories that we have across our strongest markets, right? We have more than 1 million inventory of accommodation, and it all comes in different sizes. It's not just hotels in tier 1 cities, but we have it up to tier 3 cities, as well as some glamping type of resorts. We also have them, which would normally probably not be available if you're not super local, right? And experience as well. We have it not just made big attractions. We have down to the restaurants, spas in your neighborhood, or kids playground in the mall, in the neighborhood mall. I think that's
everything has to go really, really micro and local right now. If we have any questions from the audience, just please put up your hand and we'll get the microphone to you. So proposition number 3, big topic. The acquisition of customers, right? You all don't have money anymore to spend, the big bucks like Traveloka used to spend, Christian. So you don't have much anymore. So what are you doing? One thing that you're doing really, really well to drive direct traffic and acquire customers at this time, Christian.
Yeah, so I think we're happy that there are still continuous sort of feeds on social media platform to get on these people's desires to travel, right? The people can't travel now, but their innate desires to go out are still present and in fact building up. So we, as Traveloka, we focus on being an easy, reliable booking transaction platform. And we've been very much focused on, creating the best customer experience there. We know that price does matter a lot to our customers. So establish like special large scale marketing promotional programs that we form with our longtime hotel activities partners and present that to the market. And I think the other key point is that we realize now that we are spending money more thriftily, more carefully, I suppose, is we have been acquiring and serving millions of customers in the past, and I think we could do better in engaging them. And I spoke about harvesting and farming these customers better. And I think in these circumstances like today, we can rely back on our technology to reinvigorate those relationships with CRM and many of our own media assets.
Yeah, so instead of hunting, it's time for harvesting. So Aloke, I mean, specifically, can you talk about your video strategy? And before you do that, Jerry, can we play the latest video that I loved? And I saw it on my social feed and I loved it. And so let's play that video. This is an Ixigo video. Aloke, you should do one for our event. How about that? This whole process of
Sure.
WiT. But talk to us about your video strategy and what percentage of direct traffic is your video strategy driving for you right now?
Well, it's very hard to measure, but yeah, we've been doing this, viral videos for the last 5 years, and I think our brand has been built very organically that way. And you mentioned, it's funny you mentioned that you're not spending money anymore, and I was going to say we've not spent any money ever. Ixigo is one of the only OTAs in India that has been built organically. We've had a very unique marketing strategy because we didn't have any money to market, and so we've always believed as a company that your product, your customer experience, and your content are your best marketing tools. So I already talked about some product innovations we did, but on the content side, we've tried to come out with original, informative, entertaining, funny, and informational content. The guy who runs our team has even written a book about it, which is now a bestseller. But our insight there is that today you get more reach within 24 hours. On social media, if you have viral content, then you can buy on TV after spending even maybe $2 million for that day, right? And with that fact of life, I think COVID has been a godsend moment for us because, most of the other OTAs have been relying on Bollywood stars and TV. You can't do that anymore. So I think, some of our creative stuff has really kept us relevant in the minds of consumers, even if they were not traveling.
I mean, you've always been scrappy. So, scrappy is the word for the moment. So now let's go to the second proposition, which is like, eternal flexibility forever and trust eternal, right? So a very brief answer. Is flexibility a forever thing now in our industry? Is that how it's going to be built in, Aloke?
Yes, I think so. I think people have seen the, immense amount of customer service issues that they've faced with travel companies. There is a trust deficit, I believe, and therefore, flexible products, free cancellation products. In fact, during the lockdown, we built what is called Ixigo Assured, which is our free cancellation guarantee program, where we mined a lot of data to figure out the right pricing for this for every flight. And now it's a very popular product for us. I believe that customers want to see, those refunds coming back on time, and they've seen enough madness, in the last 3-4 months, kind of have that trust deficit gone for a while. Yeah.
Right. And Christian, what about, trust eternal, right? People need to work with people they trust now. So is this going to be a forever thing as well with trust and flexibility? Are you seeing that in Indonesia?
I think flexibility is an attractive value proposition today when there's so much uncertainty. would we remain observant on the shifting demand when normalcy returns? Because we believe while flexibility is fantastic, um, I think we must recognize that most of the time, not all the time, flexibility comes at a higher cost to serve. And some higher cost to serve typically could mean to higher serving prices or premium to the customers, right? And today, that's a very easy trade-off. But in the future, when certainty returns to a little bit more normalcy, maybe this additional price premium or higher serving prices can become sort of like a major consideration for most travelers. Of course, there will be segments that would be insensitive and will still value this regardless. But we we don't know for sure the intensity of flexibility that people will demand in the future. I think it will dial down a little bit more when normalcy sort of returns back.
Okay, so the third one is like all of us have got to learn to do more with less, right? So, Alok, you managed to reinstate salary cuts for your 150 staff in July, which is fantastic. It must be great for morale. But, so how are you learning? I mean, you've always done with less, but how are you learning to do with lesser right now?
Yeah, I think during the crisis, we took a call that it was more of a moral, ethical, and human responsibility for us as travel industry leaders to try to keep the team together and not let people go. So I think the way the team is paying back is taking on more responsibility, and we've seen everyone in the team step up and take more ownership and take more roles than what they were playing earlier. In fact, half of our team was on customer support for one full month, right? And I think we are very lucky to be where we are in terms of focus on domestic, frugal, just 150 people. I think from a revenue to employee ratio, probably the best in the industry in India. And now that the domestic flights have opened up, domestic trains have opened up, we are bouncing back, almost up to 70% compared to pre-COVID in a few categories. So we've just been, I think, lucky to be focused on where the market is bouncing back the fastest.
Okay, that's good news. So, Christian, Traveloka, hyper growth company, you raised 250 million just a couple of months ago, right? How are you rethinking growth at Traveloka? You were really set to kind of conquer Southeast Asia. What are you doing now? Are you dialing back and then hunkering down, in the domestic market?
Not really. I think the ambition is still there, right? I think we're, first of all, really grateful for our investors for their trust in Traveloka during this unprecedented time, and for sharing optimism that we will undoubtedly come back stronger and still striving for our original objective. But having more money does not give us the right to spend recklessly. That's what we believe. And we're still committed on our laser-focused direction on product, marketing, innovation, and expanding on categories and business perspective. So we're not in travel anymore, but we are actually engaging in lifestyle and financial services in the markets that we are operating in. And in today's climate, also building the ability to operate more effectively in a very lean manner, both in the workforce and in the marketing investment. I think one area that we found also have been helpful is to embrace our government partners, our association partners, to rethink growth. And how do we continue thriving in these changing times? We're actively working with Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Transportation, tourism boards, you name it, in the different markets, and try to hold hands and embrace each other to, in a way, fight the market and win over the market, because we believe that's where the challenge is.
Okay, so now rapid fire questions, okay? So Christian, what's your one word when I say Klook tying up with Grab on tours and activities?
SoftBank.
Okay. Aloke, Clear Trip partnering with Amazon.
Flipkart.
Christian, Airbnb IPO, is that in Traveloka's future?
Why not?
Aloke, Ixigo has a minority stake from Make My Trip, and Make My Trip is a part of Trip. One thing you have learned from the Chinese way of doing things.
I don't have a one-word answer, but I'll use a phrase, hide your strength, bide your time.
Can you say that again?
Hide your strength, bide your time.
Oh, hide your strength and bide your time. Oh, cool. Okay. Christian, Traveloka 2025.
Reimagine.
Aloke, Ixigo 2025.
Ubiquitous.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Ubiquitous.
Oh, okay.
Omnipresent.
Everywhere invisible, but like oxygen. Thank you very much, Alok and Christian. Thank you for calling in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope to see
Thank
you
you.
physically
Thank you very much.
somewhere. Thank you. Thank you.